Hero, you're back! And you look terrible! Oh, perfect! Look at those rags you're wearing. Come, get in here. I'll bet you're looking for a fresh batch of old QUARTERO'S one-of-a-kind item sets. Well, you're in luck. Same terms as last time. You remember my tragic backstory, of course. The one I spent an entire day telling you about? Yes? No. Well, I suppose it was a lot to absorb. In short, I'm cursed to give away item sets for free or I'll die. Painfully. Ah, I see you've got your eye on my lunch. Well, I don't have to eat it if you want it as a ward. You're missing out, though. I mean, I'm a goat. I'll eat anything, but still. There's a sweet shell, some crunchy bits, metallic note, I think. Definitely ham. There's a lot going on here. Here, why don't we try this nether horn on? Yes! Pretty slick, am I right? I managed to snag this little showstopper in a small village up in the mountains, ruled by a spider, if you can believe it. Not a tiny spider, either. No, that would be ridiculous. No, a big spider with a king's crown on its head. And as I'm sure you can guess, there's an adventuresome tale in how I got it. I was sworn to secrecy, of course. But if I've learned anything about you, you're not even listening right now. So, here we go. Once upon a time. Once upon a time, I gave you this free cape, the Nether Shell, once owned by the Spider King. Did this spider defy the odds and become a king? What an inspirational story that would be! But no, this story is about a lazy king who became a spider. How? Well, some of the villagers said the king had been bitten by a spider. Other villagers said he'd been bitten by a witch, and that turned him into a spider. And I asked, so was it a spider witch then? And they said, no, just a regular witch. And I said, well, that doesn't make much sense. And they said, that's funny. We didn't know you were such a f***ing witch expert. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm going to have to fight all these people. And then the leaders said, when a witch turns you into a frog, does that make her a frog witch? And honestly, that helped me get there. You could see they'd put a lot of thought into this. Ah, the nether braces! Look at the craftsmanship on those spikes. That's real beetle jaw. You can tell by the way it catches the light. Look at that shimmer. Anyway, while I was running from the villagers, guess who I bumped into? The king! And I figured, why not just ask him how he'd become a spider? And get this, he hadn't been bitten by a witch, just cursed. So, mystery solved. But also, who cares? Because the point is, it turned out he had an armor hoard. This king loved armor, a lot. He'd spent every coin in the realm on ruinously expensive item sets, and now, thanks to the witch's curse, he couldn't wear any of them. And your old pal QUARTERO was thinking, how tragic. But also, don't mind if I do. Here, give this nether wand a swing. Yes, feel that balance? That's real cross-grain carapace steel. Anyway, he said I could have the whole set, and he'd even throw in the wands, and all I had to do was go on a quest to the Fountain of Babrazba and find him a magic elixir. Sounded easy enough. And then he got out the map. The fountain was in some tomb in the middle of a cannibal jungle on some godforsaken hellhole called Snake Island, and no, absolutely not. Look at these hands, hero. Look at these soft hands. I don't do jungle tombs. No, I had a better plan. The witch who cursed him lived 5 minutes from the castle. Have you ever seen a witch? They're 200 years old, and they're made of balsa wood. I figured I'd just go find this witch and punch her so hard she'd die. And there's the other nether wand. I'm glad you're taking both. I'd hate to break up the set. Not easy to smuggle these out of the burrowed kingdoms anymore, either. Not since... Well, that's another story. Speaking of stories, where was I? Find the witch, punch her, lift the curse. That was the plan, anyway. As it happened, she wouldn't let me in her cottage. So, what I did was... let me be careful here. I went back to the village and bought several rounds of ale at the tavern for the many witnesses present. Yes, and while I was there, you won't believe this, somebody burned her house down. Lifted the curse instantly. The molten maw. Here, lean forward. Let's get this on you. Ugh, that is heavy. How's it feel? Can you see me out of the eye holes? You look really evil, by the way. I can't tell what face you're making under there, but from here, you look terrifying. Also, legally, I feel like I should be very, very clear about that last part I told you about the witch's house burning down while I was somewhere else with countless witnesses present. I don't think the witch is dead. No, hero. Are you kidding? That would be murder. No, I think she lifted the curse, moved to a different town, and changed her name. In fact, that's almost certainly what happened. In fact, that's what I told the constables. Anyway, I went back to the king, and he was human again. Also dead. I guess what happened was he must have run straight to his armory and started trying on all his precious armor. And I guess the witch came back to life briefly before dying again because he suddenly turned back into a spider and then back into a human. And if you suddenly go from a person-shaped body into a spider body and then back into a person body while you're still inside steel armor, well, I'll spare you the details. He died instantly. But if you want the details, it exploded all the vertebrae in his spine while his organs got pushed up into his throat cavity, and he choked to death while his back exploded. And honestly, it took a surprisingly long time, a few minutes at least. Oh, also earlier, did I say the witch came back from the dead? What I obviously meant was, you look fantastic in those molten maulers. At any rate, I can report that, unlike the witch, happily retired somewhere, I imagine, the king was dead. I was able to pry most of him out of this molten mantle here. Let's get it on you. There! Snug as a button. There might still be a few chunks slopping around in there. You can keep those if you find any. The villagers and I found enough of him to bury. The point is, technically, the king was 100% curse-free by the end. And a deal's a deal. So, yours truly helped himself, as agreed, to any one-item set of my choosing. Naturally, I chose the Nether Beetle set, but then I also liked the look of the Molten Monarch set, so I figured, why not take both for now, so you could try them on, and I'd return whichever one you didn't like. And that gave me another idea, which is why not steal everything? And I was just smashing a third set out of its glass case when some guards showed up. Now, I'll bet you're wondering. I said at the beginning that this story had a happy ending. Yet here we are at the end of the tale, and the entire cast is dead or missing. But you have 2 priceless item sets, and you lived handsomely ever after in them. The end. The Ember Enforcer. Go ahead, try it on. I know it looks like it's on fire. That's because it is on fire. But most of the heat radiates outward, so once you've got it on, that should be the worst of the burns. Funny story behind this item set. I actually obtained it while trying to get my hands on a different set at Ultimere University. I'd tried sneaking my way into the university disguised as a professor. Welcome to class, you there. Read that book. Good. and so on. I hadn't counted on a gem of true sight, which was judging every heart in the room for so much as a flicker of ill intent. Well, my heart must have been flickering like the dickens with shitty intentions, because I found myself in the university dungeon before I could snatch a single sabaton. Let's get this armor on you. Ugh, that is heavy. You must be roasting like a duck in there. Well, if it gets too hot, just wave. Anyway, prison. I didn't care for it. I didn't like the cell, I didn't like the rats, or the bed, or the toilet next to the bed, but mostly I didn't like Dodrick. He was the jailer. I mean, I get it. It's prison. QUARTERO'S not made of marshmallow jam, but I mean, a simple blanket to keep me warm at night? I had one, yes, but two would have been even snugglier, and there was a whole pile of them in the linen closet. Or the food, hero. A bowl of gruel is literally water and gristle. It would have cost the prison essentially nothing to adopt a bottomless bowl policy. It was like Dodrick was going out of his way to make prison as unpleasant as possible. Look at the glowing sigil on this back piece. You know, it's odd. When I look directly at the sigil, it's like it fills my heart with... Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Ah, despair. That's it. Looking at it fills me with despair. Tell you what, I'm going to stop. Anyway, there I was, rotting away in the dungeon, lying on my filthy mattress next to my filthy toilet, when there on the filthy wall I spotted it. A summoning spell. I could summon a genie. I could wish that Dodrick would fall into his gruel cauldron and drown, and that his death spasms knocked over the pile of spare blankets and they all roll into my cell. Also, I could have just wished to not be in prison, obviously, but I was still very cross with Dodrick at the time, and, well, not thinking straight. I fudged some of the syllables here and there, but basically got the spell right, and presto! Let me cinch the bell for you. There, give the war kilt a twirl. Yes, very nice twirling. Next time, wear something under the war kilt. That was a lot for your old pal QUARTERO. Where was I in my gripping prison narrative? Right, the breakout. I'd summoned a wish-granting genie. Genie, I commanded, heed my first wish. Well, it turns out I didn't say every single little tiny syllable in the spell perfect, because I hadn't summoned a wish-granting genie after all, but a much rarer people-murdering genie. I asked if he'd let me make a wish anyway, as long as it didn't involve him not murdering someone, and he said no. In fact, all he wanted to know was which insolent fool had summoned him, because he said he was going to, and I quote, pound out their skeleton and wear their skin like a jacket. So I said it was him, and I pointed at Dodrick. I saved the best for last, the Magma Fang. So the best part about this weapon, other than it's a glowing axe the size of a horse, is, look closely. It's not even forged. It's just a massive shard of lava rock. And let me tell you, it cuts through prison bars like a hot knife through a surprised jailer. The murder genie melted the bars, grabbed Dodrick by the ankles, and smashed him against a wall until his skeleton came out. Now, technically my cell didn't have bars blocking the way out anymore, but it did have a giant murder genie in ember armor, and he'd just run out of people to murder, so I was hoping he wouldn't notice. He noticed me. So I had a murder genie stomping towards me holding that Magma Fang, wearing poor stupid Dodrick as a jacket. My back was against the wall. What could I do? I said the summoning spell again. Now I had two murder genies in the room with me. Ah, the Gilded Tyrant, volcanically gilded with mercury, I believe. Unbelievably toxic, of course, but it's not like you're going to put it in your mouth or anything, or on your skin, or near your face. So, there I was. I'd said the summoning spell again, and what must have been the first murder genie's supervisor showed up, because he was wearing the same armor as the first guy, except it looked a lot more expensive. He was also just as angry as the first guy. "What insolent fools summoned me? I will pound out their skeleton," all the same stuff. And I figured, well, it worked once, so I point at the first genie and I say, "He summoned you. Kill him." Did it work? It did not. Your eyes aren't deceiving you. Those glowing spikes on the shoulders? Oh yes, that's genuine six-hell crystallized brimstone. Each spike lovingly hammered by hand. Each hand lovingly attached to someone thrown screaming into a volcano after every single spike. Put your ear close and listen. You hear that? That's right, screams of pride, I imagine. At any rate, my clever plan was to use deception to pit the genies against each other. A real comedy of errors, like in those classic plays where a handsome rogue tricks two genies into killing each other. You know the ones. Of course, in those plays, it only works because nobody ever stops to compare notes and clear up the misunderstanding, which unfortunately these genies did almost instantly. Bazroth, the supervisor, and Gricknock, his subordinate, hashed it all out before I was halfway to the door. And if there's one thing genies hate more than humans summoning them, it's apparently lying about it. Because they started telling me they were going to do things to my skeleton that didn't seem possible if done in sequence. They were simply going to have to pick one. Ah, excellent eye, hero. I see you've zeroed in on the back piece. That's the obsidian sigil of the sixth hell. I'm not sure which one, though. Hold on, I've got a sigil handbook around here somewhere. Let's see here. Ah! Nalvorth ug murto. Roughly translated, throw all concerns into the wind. That's nice, isn't it? Hold on, I didn't see the umlaut over the O. Roughly translated, throw all humans into the volcano. Let me wrap up that gripping prison tale. Where were we? Summoning spell, Gricknock the murder genie, dead jailer, second summoning spell, Bazroth the supervisor, both of them about to kill me and my skin out of tricks. All set? Here we go. So, there I was, out of tricks. Gricknock stomped over to me and grabbed me by the throat. "I'm going to enjoy this," he said. And hero, I believed him. He looked like he was about to have the time of his life. But then Bazroth said, "Oh, no, you don't. You know the rules." And Gricknock grumbled and stepped aside, and then Bazroth puts his hands around my throat. And I thought, the rules? This might be useful. Ah, I see your gaze has fallen on the golden war kilt of Ugmorto. Your eyes have fine taste, hero. Smelted in magma drawn from the six hell caldera and cooled in the blood of the poor souls who made the shoulder spikes. See that belt sigil? That's not ornamentation. That's a containment rune. Nothing evil, it just, well, you know, keeps everything contained down there. So, why couldn't Gricknock kill me? A very good question, and I needed a way to subtly insert it into the conversation. So I asked, "Hey, why can't Gricknock kill me?" Well, according to Bazroth, every genie is allowed to kill whoever summoned them. That's the rule. And because I'd told Gricknock that stupid smelly Dodric had summoned him, Gricknock got to kill stupid smelly Dodric. I'd summoned Bazroth, so Bazroth got to kill me. I guess that's why it was the first thing both of them asked. So I said, actually, I lied. I summoned Gricknock. I'd done all the summoning so far. They'd killed stupid smelly Dodric for nothing. And the genies didn't say anything after that. for a long, long time. And then Gricknock said, "Shit." And then Bazroth, after a while, also said, "Shit." Presenting the Gilded Fang, forged in the black fires of the six-hell caldera, where only the heaviest metals survive. Hauled from the very throat of the vent, its edge cast and hardened in a cataclysm of molten stone and threaded with vein gold from the mantle of the sixth hell. And that's a lot of technical mumbo-jumbo, but the gist is this axe is cool as hell, and it's yours for free. I'll also throw in the thrilling conclusion to my prison tale. Both the genies seemed to think they were in a lot of trouble, and they were begging me to sign some contract they'd written up on Dodric's skin stating that Dodric had summoned both of them. I gave the contract a once-over. It didn't look like there were any clauses hidden away in the fine print, so I added some. After all, I'd come to Ultimere looking for some gear to steal, and then these two idiots show up wearing six-hell Caldera armor. The shoulder guards alone were worth more than the entire university. So I told them I'd sign on one condition, that both of them immediately get nude. Gricknock looked confused and a little scared, and wanted to know if he could ask why before he said yes. And I said, "Calm down, I just want your armor. Now take your clothes off." And Hero, take their clothes off they did. Stripped right down. Gricknock was a little shyer about it than Bazroth, for good reason, as it turned out. After which I signed the contract, sent them on their way back to Six Hell, and here I am, giving the spoils to you. I hope the harrowing story of their acquisition increases their value in your eyes, knowing as you now do the trials I undertook to get them to— No, I didn't think so. Weren't even listening, were you? No, it's fine. It's late. Take it. I will see you in a few months. Last time I came around, I made sure to give everyone some chances to win free stuff, and the response was unanimous. Every single person was mad. So, this time, QUARTERO'S going to make sure your first antique is an extra super-duper special one. Then it's back to the usual stuff, but you'll get more chances to win it. Last but not least, now you'll get to pick your treasure from an assortment of options. Happy? Everybody finally happy with how I'm giving away all my stuff? Super! Anybody with further suggestions can mail them directly to QUARTERO at 123 Kiss My Purple Ass Lane. Take your pick! Pick your treasure! Make your choice, hero! Pick a priceless treasure! Any priceless treasure! Make your choice. Make your choice, hero. The choice is yours. Pick your treasure. Choose, hero. And soon, Quartero is about to take his lunch break. Choose wisely.